Bianca comes in from behind, tries to KOD Ripley. Ripley escapes, tries to riptide Bianca. Bianca escapes and smacks the shit out of Ripley with her stupid hair, and then hits the
So we
KOD.
had the Viking Raiders dressed as Clash of Clans, and then Drew McIntyre is now
Yeah.
dressed as Doomslayer.
Okay, I get it with the the Viking bikers, but come on, McIntyre's a real wrestler. And this is a
Yeah.
blood feud.
Now,
What the fuck is he doing? What does he give a shit about Doom when he's trying to take the priest out for good? He's been screwing him for the past. They show footage of Penta checking one off the bucket list by riding a Goodyear blimp over Las Vegas. He was
how about
excited.
that? Who knew that was his lifelong dream of riding in a blimp?
Is Hendry's gimmick being the whitest motherfucker that ever lived?
I know he's an entrance, pretty much, and that turnaround thing.
There's the turnaround thing. He did the hand thing on the entrance ramp, the fucking jazz hand. We will rock you stomp. And then the Zoolander pose. The Zoolander pose was the worst. Like, okay, I get it. You did it for your little stupid entrance. That was bad enough. But then you got fucking doing it in the match with fucking Randy Orton? You're a goddamn champion. So I don't know what Ric Flair did when he won number 16, but I know for a fucking fact he didn't celebrate with fucking Travis Scott. But that's what Cena did.
Travis Scott is the third guy in this whole thing. People were underestimating that, by the way. Remember? It was him and...
Don't. Don't. All right. Well, we are going to go back to night 2 of Wrestlemania. Give me one moment. We're still in Las Vegas, Nevada, of course. And the walkers are Cody, of course. He's all smiles, instead of being mentally focused on the biggest match of his fucking title reign. Then we have the Judgment Day. They're just standing. Looks like they're posing for a class picture or something. And Penta walked, then Braun Breaker, who was dressed as the Midnight Cowboy. And we had Orton walking with his wife, and he smooched her hand. Aww. Then they showed the girls preparing for their triple threat match. So it starts off with a quick night 1 highlight reel. Then The Rock says the moment has arrived. Then we get a night 2 hype video. I wish they would have played clips of moments that led to the WrestleMania matches rather than just seeing everyone fucking posing in the ring. And then Stephanie McMahon comes out. She says it's the last time WrestleMania was in Vegas, it was WrestleMania 9, and she was only 16. And now they're back for WrestleMania 41, and her daughter's 16.
What a full circle moment.
She says we're part of her family, and she welcomes us to night 2. And the first match of the night is Io Sky versus Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley. Triple threat match for the girls' belt. Of course, Io the Afterthought comes out first. And you're going to have to explain Bianca Belair's entrance to me. Like, why were some people jumping rope, and why did they need some friends with pom-poms?
I think it was a black cheerleading group or something.
Did they just jump rope? Is that how they practice cheerleading?
No, it's just, well, young black girls, they like to, I forgot what it's called, but you do the jump rope thing where like
You skip rope.
well, you hold 2 jump ropes and then you like cross them, and then the one girl gets in the middle and starts doing whatever she does. I forgot what it's called. There's a name to it, but
So it's just a black thing.
yeah.
Okay. I thought Bianca's stepdaughter was Bianca until the actual Bianca came out. Because there's this girl just standing in the center of the entrance ramp. In fairness to me, though, I wasn't paying that close attention.
I don't think she showed her face at first, so it's understandable.
And then there was the one awkward white girl, which I think may have been Stephanie's daughter.
I had to get her in there.
Right. So Ripley came out in this ugly plastic-looking bone veil, and then she just immediately took it off before heading to the ring. Why not just have her do a full entrance in it? It's kind of weird.
It was some kind of Batman cosplay.
I thought I got Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings or something. Either way, it was stupid. So it starts with Ripley and Belair immediately just getting into each other's face. And she's like, "Hey, I'm here," and she just starts smacking both of them. Neo jumps around for a bit. Then they do a deal where she's gonna hit Bianca with a Frankensteiner, and Bianca blocks it. She's gonna go for a powerbomb, but then she just tosses Io at Ripley, who finally hits that Frankensteiner. And Ripley takes Io out with a drop kick, and now it's finally just Ripley and Bianca. And Bianca ends up getting Ripley in the corner for the 10 punches. Io comes running up from behind, and Belair backflips over her. And then she does the 10 punches to Io and Ripley, which is dumb. Io figures out that she can get away and hits a double blockbuster and a double drop kick. And then Bianca launches Io onto the apron and smashes her face into the turnbuckle. Then Ripley knocks Bianca out of the ring to hits a cannonball from the apron. And then Io hits Ripley with an acai moonsault. And she chases Ripley back in the ring and tries to win with a double stomp. Then Bianca comes back. She ends up dumping Ripley out of the ring again. And then she obnoxiously gets the better of Io. Like, that ass slapping thing. I don't like that. Ripley pulls Bianca out of the ring when she tries to do her handspring bullshit. And then they just fight on the floor. Io tries to hit Bianca with a Frankensteiner, but she ends up getting caught and slammed repeatedly in the barricade. And then Bianca and Ripley run back in the ring so they can do a few things to each other. Io comes back. Ripley fucking razor's edged her into Bianca, which is cool. And then we have Ripley lock Io in her submission hold. I forget what it's called. And then Belair came in from behind and tried to KOD Ripley. And Ripley escaped. Then she and Bianca hit each other with a double face buster. And then Io takes the opportunity to do her running knees to Ripley and Bianca in the opposite turnbuckles. Then she takes an hour going up to do a moonsault to Ripley. So naturally she gets stopped. But then they do a fucking stupid Tower of Power spot that I just skipped right past. Right with the clapping steels chanted, no, that shit is not awesome. And then Bianca and Ripley start fighting again. Ripley kicks the shit out of the EST mid leapfrog. She like kicked her right in the face. And then she gets nailed with an Io dropkick. Bianca comes out of nowhere to spear Io. She's doing her stupid hand thing. Ah! She looks like she needs to ride the short bus to school. And then Bianca hits Io with a 450 splash that the greatest announcer in the world, Dumbfuck Cole, called a shooting star press. Wade Barrett got on his stupid ass right away with the correction. And Ripley comes out of nowhere and tries to win with a riptide on Belair. And she gets frustrated. And she tries to riptide Io, who's still out from the 450 splash. But Io counters it with a DDT. And then she runs into a kick from Ripley. And Ripley goes to riptide Io from the top rope. But Io, she's playing possum, and she turns that into an arm drag. She goes for a moonsault, and Ripley gets her feet up and like hits Io right in the face. And Io bounces off of Ripley's foot, and Belair catches her and nails a KOD. And then Bianca screams and starts fighting with Ripley again. Ripley looks like she's going to go for a superplex on Bianca. Bianca fights out of it, but Ripley headbutts her, and she crumples to the floor. Io sneaks up from behind Ripley, does her little palm thrust thing. She tries to poison Rana Ripley from the top rope. Ripley blocks it and swings her like all the way back, so her face smashes against the steel ring post. Bianca comes in from behind, tries to KOD Ripley. Ripley escapes, tries to riptide Bianca. Bianca escapes and smacks the shit out of Ripley with her stupid hair, and then hits the KOD. And Io comes out of nowhere with a moonsault to Bianca, which she's trying to make the pin. 1, 2, 3. And that's it.
That was a good match to start the show off. Again, I didn't see night one, like the beginning of it, so in totality, I can't tell you if it was better or worse than the match where Jey Uso tapped out Gunther, but submission specialist Jey Uso tapped out Gunther. But yeah, this was a good start, and I think the right person won.
The only issue I have is it was basically like a Ripley Bianca Belair match, and Io just happened to be there.
Yeah, that's pretty much the story of that Wrestlemania match.
I don't like the idea of the champion. Again, I don't like the champion being the third wheel in any feud.
That's fair. Yeah, we'll see where it goes from there, though.
Well, we'll talk about Monday Night Raw. But yeah, it was a good match. The only reason I watched it is because everybody sucked its dick. So I might as well watch it. It could have been worse. But I think as a start between night 1 and night 2, yeah, this was definitely the better one. Well, then we hear Cardi B is going to host SummerSlam. So it's going to be a condensed pay-per-view for me. And how is Flavor Flav still alive?
I don't know. Still kicking.
So then we get a Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest hype video. It dawned on McIntyre one day that Priest was the one who benefited from all his screwings. McIntyre won the World Heavyweight title that Jey Uso is currently devaluing at WrestleMania 40. Then he got into it with Punk, and Priest came out to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase, robbing McIntyre of his WrestleMania moment in front of a live crowd. And then McIntyre lists off the pay-per-views Priest screwed him at, says now Priest has his attention. He says this isn't about championships. Priest took those from him. This is about putting Priest down for good, so he can't take anything from him ever again. Priest says McIntyre's a hypocrite who doesn't need to paint him as a villain anymore. Priest is McIntyre's villain. And he wants McIntyre to stop playing victim and become his victim. And then tells McIntyre to pray. Then they play clips of the back and forth we've been seeing throughout the weeks. Possibly the match with the best build. Definitely the match with the best build. Oh yeah, McIntyre stole Priest's necklace.
There you go.
And I was thinking, like, the first match wasn't like a classic or anything like that, but it was a really good match. And the crowd, more importantly, was super into it. So I was thinking, how are they going to follow that up? Well, we get Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest in the Sin City street fight. And this, in all accounts, should be really bad.
Yeah. Now, I did have a problem with this match, and it's in the name there, but we'll talk about it.
Fair enough. Well, McIntyre came out and he poses next to a rock with a Halo helmet on, and there's a shield affixed to it. It turns out he's shilling for some Doom game.
Which surprised me that they're still making Doom games. But yeah, he was the Doom Slayer, the main character. So we had the Viking Raiders dressed as Clash of Clans, and then Drew McIntyre is now dressed as Doom Slayer.
Which, okay, I get it with the Viking bikers, but come on, McIntyre's a real wrestler. And this is a blood feud.
Now,
what the fuck is he doing? What does he give a shit about Doom when he's trying to take Priest out for good? He's been screwing him for the past year.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as comedy as the Viking Raiders.
No.
And had they not said anything about Doom, I would have just thought it's some kind of Scottish thing going on.
No, I saw the helmet. I'm like, that's Halo.
Yeah.
Well, some guy from the band Slayer played Priest theme. It didn't look like he had any teeth. And then McIntyre attacks Priest before the bell rang, and it quickly spills to the floor. And they fight to the entrance ramp. McIntyre suplexes Priest. I don't know how or even if they could do this, but it'd be cool if they would have like the LED lights react to being slammed on.
I'm sure they can figure it out.
You know, they had the LED lights on the entrance ramp. So, like, you know, you have somebody get suplexed or slammed on it. Have like heat sensors or some shit on it.
Yeah, I'm sure they could. Or have someone pushing the button.
That too, yeah. Well, McIntyre grabs the base of the steel steps and sets it up in the corner of the ring. Priest grabs the other half of the steps and slams him in McIntyre's face. And I thought he threw him at first. I had to watch the replay. And Priest grabs a table, slides it into the ring. McIntyre recovers, starts throwing Priest into shit, and clobbers him with the top half of the other set of steel stairs. Then he grabs a phone from his brother in the audience and takes a selfie while Priest is writhing in pain. And McIntyre rolls Priest back in the ring. He goes under the ring, grabs a chair, whacks Priest in the ear with it. And he grabs 2 more tables from under the ring and stacks them up. He goes back into the ring. Priest recovers, tries to fight, but McIntyre ends up dumping him on the other side of the ring. And he hits a suicide dive. And then McIntyre gets Priest in the ring again, sets him up for a claymore. Priest grabs a chair and tosses it in McIntyre's face. And I guess McIntyre got his hand up or something and hit Priest with the claymore anyway. Then he starts beating the shit out of Priest with the chair and wraps it around Priest's neck. McIntyre goes for another claymore and runs right into a South of Heaven. And then Priest grabs a chair and starts returning the favor to McIntyre. Then he wedges it into the turnbuckle. And then McIntyre recovers, hits Priest with a spine buster. He sets up a table and tries to white noise Priest through it from the top rope. Priest tries to fight out and puts McIntyre through the table with a razor's edge, which is cool. And I was thinking, how cool would it be if every match tonight would somehow work in a razor's edge?
We were heading in that direction.
I know, it would have been great. Priest tries to hit McIntyre with the South of Heaven on the base of the steel steps he set up earlier, but McIntyre just jams his thumb into Priest's eyes and you can hear Priest scream. It's great. They future shocks him on the steel stairs, and they put on mean faces and trade punches right after that. McIntyre hits a Glasgow kiss. Priest levels McIntyre with a clothesline. Then he grabs McIntyre's hand, goes for old school. McIntyre just simply pushes Priest off the ropes into the stacked tables from earlier outside the ring. McIntyre drags Priest back into the ring, props his head against the steel chair that was wedged in the turnbuckles by Priest earlier. McIntyre delivers the most sickening claymore I've ever fucking seen in my life. 1, 2, 3. And after the match, McIntyre drags the ref away from tending to Priest and forces him to raise his hand while he stands on the steel stairs. And Priest could not breathe.
And he finally wins McIntyre.
Finally.
Now, I mean, it's not a big issue. I did enjoy the match for what it was. But the name is Street Fight. Why didn't they go in the street? Why do they never go in the street in a street fight?
I don't think that's isolated to just this match.
Yeah, I said they don't ever go in the street in a street fight. It's like, oh, it's a street fight, but they always stay near the ring. I'm not saying you got to go in the street, but at least fight to the back, fight to
The parking lot.
yeah, like back in the old WWE games, they had the little parking lot area that you fight in.
Mm-hmm.
You get some cars involved, but no. And also, don't have the final pin take place in the ring, or maybe you can. I don't know.
It wasn't
I
Falls
think-
Count Anywhere.
Oh, well, isn't that part of the street fight rules?
No,
Falls count anywhere?
they have to specifically say it's Falls Count Anywhere.
I don't know about that.
I'm pretty sure.
We're gonna look it up. The Grok says, yes, a wrestling street fight can end outside the ring. And
It can end outside the ring.
Okay. I guess we're gonna. There's nuance that we would have to really search for.
Yeah.
I was like, does it have to be announced? Okay, whatever. Well, okay, we'll fight and then get back to the ring. I'll do that. Yeah, it's just a bigger thing as a whole. They're street fights and they never leave the ringside because I guess they don't want fans to have to look at the Titantron or something. I don't know.
Well, I thought this was possibly the match at WrestleMania. Like, the action from start to finish was great. Like I said, the build was the only proper one of all of WrestleMania. And it's still going. We'll get to that, but yeah, I thought it was stellar.
Yeah, they did a good job. Like I said, it's just a small little thing, but it's a bigger picture on street fights in general, I guess.
Well, after showing more celebrities and athletes I don't give a shit about in the stands, they show footage of Penta checking one off the bucket list by riding a Goodyear blimp over Las Vegas. He was
How about
excited.
that? Who knew that was his lifelong dream of riding in a blimp, the Goodyear blimp specifically.
I didn't even know they
He's
still had a
alone.
Goodyear blimp.
It shows up during the Super Bowl, but that's the only time I hear about it. No, they do it in college football sometimes too, like the primetime game. The Goodyear blimp.
Well, then we get a Braun Breaker, Finn Balor, Penta, Dominic hype video. Breaker says everyone wants into the title picture until they realize that he is the title picture. Says no man can beat him. Balor comes along one random Raw. Says, I want your title, Braun. I want your title, Braun. Says he was the first Universal Champion and is still swinging for the stars by going after the IC title. Then we see the storyline between Judgment Day and Penta. Dom wants him to be a member. Balor says, no fucking way. We already have a Carlito. Oh, and Penta wants the Intercontinental title too, and Balor isn't keen on that. And he calls Dirty Dom a snake. You're just a snake. And Dom cost Balor the title match against Breaker. Penta comes out to save Breaker from an ass kicking and have a stare down with him. Then we see Dominic offer Penta a spot in the Judgment Day, and he later refuses by kicking a chair into Dom's face. And then Pierce sets up a fatal four-way. It's Braun Breaker versus Finn Balor versus Penta versus Dominic for some reason. And that leads us to the match. Braun Breaker versus Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor versus Penta. Fatal four-way match for the Intercontinental title. It's worth noting this match is brought to us by Dude Wipes.
They get those sponsors in there.
And yeah, Penta had a boring entrance. Dominic came out wearing a Mysterio mask. I had no idea what the fuck Balor was supposed to be. Neither did commentary. Breaker, he had a boring entrance too. All the entrances were kind of boring.
You mean like all WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just another one of those creative things.
I'd say Cena's is the only one that stuck out.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. Well, Breaker immediately rushes Dom, then starts beating on Penta. Balor and Dom work together to take out Breaker. Penta recovers, takes on Balor and Dom. And he knocks them both out of the ring, hits a suicide dive. Breaker comes out of nowhere and levels Penta with a shoulder tackle. And Breaker and Penta get back in the ring. Breaker hits a world's strongest slam. Balor comes in and Breaker hits that gorilla press power slam he stole from Goldberg. And Dom gets speared. Breaker tries to run wild on Balor and Penta. And then Balor hits him with a sling blade. Penta nails Balor with a facebuster. And Dom gets enziguried. And then Penta does the Ultima Dragon turnbuckle headstand thing to Balor and Dom while they're sitting in the corner. And he does the sacrifice to Balor and goes for a Penta driver, but Breaker comes in from behind Penta, hits a double German suplex. And Breaker tries to spear Penta in the corner, and of course he goes right into the ring post. For being such a badass, he always falls for that.
That's the one kryptonite, I guess.
Well, Dom comes in like a jackal, starts whipping Penta's ass. He does Eddie's forward roll in the ring, does the three amigos with Balor's help on the third amigo. And Balor and Dom try to suplex Breaker, and that gets reversed. Breaker hits both with a belly-to-belly suplex and hits the top rope Frankensteiner to Balor. And Breaker goes to spear Balor, but Balor blocks it with a kick. And then Penta comes out of nowhere and super kicks Breaker. Dominic comes in and sends Penta out of the ring with a drop kick. And then Balor dumps Breaker out of the ring, leans against the ropes. Dominic sees Balor in his weakened state, and he drop kicks his buddy from behind, goes for a 619. But Balor catches Dom and just starts stomping the shit out of the little fucker. He gives him one little look and just starts beating his ass. Like, how dare you? And Penta comes in from behind Balor and nails him with the Penta driver. Breaker breaks up the pin and then starts trading punches with Penta. For some reason, Carlito pulls the ropes down, sending Breaker out of the ring. Penta hits Dom with a Mexican destroyer. It's broken up by Carlito, who drags Penta out of the ring and tries to do something with the announce table. Breaker ends up spearing Carlito through the announce desk from the other announce desk. And then Breaker gets Penta in the ring, hits him with a spear. Dom comes out of nowhere and 619's Breaker, and he goes for a frog splash. Balor ends up crotching him and hits Breaker with a sling blade, and then the corner drop kick, and then he hits the coup de grace. And then Dom comes in, hits Balor with a frog splash when he's trying to pin Breaker, gets the 1-2-3. They just fucking did that finish.
Yep.
You gave Dominic a girl's finish.
Well, it was pretty surprising how over Dom was in this whole thing. Well, I guess not so surprising. He was really over. It seems like that's continued. Seems like Dom is quickly becoming a babyface.
I don't understand what he's done differently to be booed over every time he talks to what he's doing now. There's been no like character shift. And he's still the same motherfucker that's been getting beat up by girls for the past 2 years.
I don't think he's been beat up recently.
Well, he got kicked in the balls by Ripley. I'm sure he's got manhandled by Vega or some shit.
He hasn't done anything to be cheered.
Yeah,
Just
so
the going sentiment is that just fans are ready to cheer him.
it's just so stupid.
They wanted to see him get his moment.
Well, okay. I've been thinking about this a lot because I want to shit on this so bad. But at the same time, like, I like how Dominic carries himself. He does look like he could be taken seriously. And like you've been saying, he just needs that Edge moment, that Edge McFoley thing where he goes over that hump into, that next level. But one, he hasn't done that. Two, he's gotten beat by girls. And he's been nothing but like a little weasel punk jobber since I've been watching him.
Pretty much.
So he's not going to like evolve. He's just going to all of a sudden just start doing. And that bugs me. But we'll have to see what happens with Dominic. I don't know. Just in one short year with the Intercontinental title, it's gone from Gunther to Dominic Mysterio.
Yep. And we did expect it, or at least I did.
Yeah, you called it. I don't know. I can't even remember my prediction for this one. I think I said Breaker. Well, then Randy Orton had a highlight video. They shoehorned the Owens and Open Challenge drama into it. And then we had Randy Orton's Open Challenge. Orton comes out and he gets on the mic, says it's his 20th WrestleMania, and whoever his opponent is going to get RKO'd. So the camera zooms in on the entrance ramp, and all of a sudden the doors part, and Orton's mystery opponent is revealed to be not Nick Aldis, not Aleister Black, not Rusev, not Jeff Cobb, not any fucking credible person at all, not even fucking Tama Tonga. Instead, we get the corniest motherfucker named Joe Hendry, who is currently the TNA champion. Jesus, how fucking shallow is TNA's talent pool to have this motherfucking white bread piece of shit as its champion?
I'll say his name and he appears. I don't get it, but from what I gathered, he's pretty much an entrance. Sound familiar?
He's an entrance in like a little fucking Zoolander. Is that the movie? Yeah, is it
Yeah.
Zoolander? Yeah, Zoolander face. Fucking Magnum Steel there.
Well, but well, you talk about the match, and then we'll say why it made sense.
Well, they start off by showing the vast size difference between the two men. Obviously, Orton's the larger of the two. Orton goes for an RKO early. Hendry blocks it, makes a stupid face. After some back and forth, Hendry hits a neck breaker, and he starts to do the "We Will Rock You" dance. Hendry goes for what I assume is a choke slam. Orton kind of stops, looks around to say, like, what the fuck are we doing? And he pokes Hendry in the eyes, does his clotheslines. He does a power slam, did the draping DDT. Goes for another RKO. It's blocked again. Hendry hits a follow-away slam. Then he fucking poses again. But it catches up with him. He gets RKO'd out of nowhere. 1, 2, 3. Orton gave the motherfucker an attaboy after the match. Then RKO'd him again. Then did Hendry's stupid fucking pose.
Yeah.
So we got this putrid piece of shit over at Aldis versus Orton. I just want to state that for the record.
Yes.
And is Hendry's gimmick being the whitest motherfucker that ever lived?
I don't quite know what again, I know he's an entrance pretty much, and that turnaround thing. I haven't watched too much of him wrestle.
There's the turnaround thing. He did the hand thing on the entrance ramp, the fucking jazz hand. He did the "We Will Rock You" stomp. And then the Zoolander pose. The Zoolander pose was the worst. Like, okay, I get it. You did it for your little stupid entrance. That was bad enough. But then you kept fucking doing it in the match with fucking Randy Orton. You're a goddamn champion, motherfucker.
Okay, that's his thing.
No.
But it made sense that it was him. What I was saying was, whoever it is, they're not winning. Because Randy Orton's going to win his 20th WrestleMania match.
Which is why it should have been Aldis. Aldis has ring rust. He could have taken a loss. First of all, he's a general manager. We're not going to think less of Nick Aldis for losing to Randy Orton.
But he loses his in-ring return.
To Randy Orton.
And, Jeff Cobb, he's supposed to be a big deal. He comes in, loses. He's a loser. It was a hard spot.
So you're saying it couldn't have been anybody good because they were going to lose?
It couldn't have been anybody who was going to be, you're considered to be a next star because they're going to lose.
Okay.
So
I see that, yeah.
Now, I thought if it was going to be TNA, you could have had
Zack Ryder.
Yeah, Zack Ryder, Moose. He's just on TV.
If they're trying to take him seriously, you don't want him to RKO. Not in 3 minutes.
I don't know if they are. Because he threw a woman down a flight of stairs. So I don't know if he's going to be making his way to the actual,
right.
contracted talent. Because, the second he does, that's going to come back up. But I thought he would have been a good choice. They have the Hardy Boys there. They could have done Jeff Hardy. It opened the possibility if they were going to go TNA. For some reason, I was like, imagine if it's like Kenny Omega. Like the freaking world would explode in wrestling.
Oh, no shit.
And then I thought it was going to be someone from what's that thing we just signed? AAA?
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a AAA talent. Maybe Vikingo, or I'm hearing Alberto Del Rio is the champion there.
Alberto Del Rio?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think because JBL's been pimping him up, hasn't he? Somebody's been singing his praises.
Yeah, JBL.
Good deal. Well,
they went with Joe Hendry.
I don't mind Joe Hendry losing. I just minded seeing Joe Hendry on my screen.
Fair enough.
Well, then they did a AJ Styles Logan Paul hype video. It was delivered in a stupid nursery rhyme, and I did not pay one bit of attention to it. I just gathered that they're pissed at each other. Could you make any sense of it?
I didn't pay attention to it.
Okay. Glad I wasn't alone there. Well, then we get Logan Paul versus AJ Styles. Couldn't care less about this slap together feud, nor the match, if I'm being honest. Nothing special happened. Really? Logan Paul did a lion salt and a buckshot lariat. Styles missed his springboard 450 splash, or shooting star press, as Dumbfuck Cole would say. And then Logan Paul hit Styles with the Styles Clash. AJ used the momentum to deliver a fucking Styles Clash. Stupid. And some doofus friend of Logan Paul tried to hand him brass knucks. Karrion Kross showed up for some reason. And then Styles took out the doofus. Kross wanted Styles to use the brass knucks on Paul. Styles throws the brass knucks on the ground defiantly and socks Kross. And AJ Styles ends up missing the forearm. Logan Paul hits his move, 1, 2, 3. And I guess Kross was out there to give Styles something to do after Logan Paul goes back to doing his super part-time schedule.
We don't need him there every week, I guess.
I guess not.
And he's got that reality show thing going on. I don't know. I wasn't really into this match, being honest.
Yeah, I wasn't either. Yeah, it just started off with, well, I'm going to call him out. Well, I'm going to call him out. Did they even get to why they were calling each other out?
Yeah, they never really got around to it. But it tells you something about the feud where the person who got over was Kross and all this.
Well, after that, we got a girls match for the girls tag belts. I guess Bayley was attacked backstage before night 1. I totally missed that. And then Seth's husband's back and is now a tag champion.
Yes. Bayley did get attacked and written off of Wrestlemania. And Becky Lynch was the replacement. And they are now tag team champions. Her and Valkyria. I don't know. It's the tag team champion, so.
When Stone Cold does the night 2 attendance, also had one too many Steve Weisers and ran right into the barricade with his 4-wheeler. And looked like he knocked a bunch of shit onto some fans. So the night 1 attendance was 61,467. Night 2, 63,226. So they combined that to a 124,693. They got to cheat to get to that big total. Apparently, Nick Khan had to console the fan who was stupid enough to set her shit on the barricade. Which, to me, the dumb entitled bitch got what she deserved. You've been watching people get slammed in the fucking barricade all night. You're going to set your drinks and shit on there? And then you're going to get indignant when shit gets knocked over?
Is that what she was tripping over? Her stuff got knocked over?
Yeah, it looked like they had their shit on the barricade. Stone Cold ran into the barricade. The shit gets knocked over, and some lady was sitting there. And then as Stone Cold's leaving, you can see Nick Khan's like talking to a fan. He wouldn't be there if they weren't pissed.
Well, my takeaway was she clearly flopped after he hit the barricade. And I didn't see stuff on the barricade. So I thought what had happened was all of a sudden her neck started hurting. Her back started hurting. And Nick Khan had to go over there to, please don't sue us. That was my takeaway from it.
If they weren't catering to the rich and fucking famous, he wouldn't have to be out there. White trash knows how to get spilled on. It's worth noting that Austin just walked back instead of using the 4-wheeler, though. Well, then we finally get a John Cena Cody Rhodes hype video. It's the Cena farewell tour, and we're all just along for the ride. Then Cena wins the Elimination Chamber. He's going to face Cody Rhodes in the match of a lifetime. Then The Rock is currently trying to get Cody's soul. And then Cody refuses The Rock, and The Rock gets Cena to beat his ass. And Travis Scott was there for some reason. Oh boy. Then they show stills of Cena, and they reverse the meanings of all the Super Cena shirts. They splice in all the shit Cena and Cody said to each other. And that brings us to John Cena versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship. And Cena steals Batista's entrance theme. Only difference is instead of the all black, you have John Cena written in white. Kind of remind me of like NWA or something. Or Ali or...
I can see the Ali.
And for some reason, people on dirt bikes appear for Cody's entrance. And he's wearing another stupid skull mask. The face pops up, and sure enough, the motherfucker's just grinning and smiling and laughing. Biggest match of his fucking career. So we start off with Cena constantly using the ropes and bailing out of the ring to regroup. Cody ends up hitting a suicide dive to Cena on the floor. You get back in the ring, Cena levels Cody with a right fist, starts kicking his ass. Cody tries to fight back. Cena takes him out with a sidewalk slam. Cena hits a couple axe handles from the top rope and then goes for a third one, and Cody blocks it. Cena immediately pokes Cody in the eyes and rains fists down upon him. He hits a tornado DDT from the corner, does his shoulder tackles, belly to back suplex, goes for a 5-knuckle shuffle. This time, Cody pokes him in the eyes and hits a power slam. And he does a disaster kick and a Cody cutter. Starts to do the dusty punches. Cena turns that into an STFU attempt. Cody escapes that, and Cena hits the FU. Of course, that's a 2 count. And Cena hits the 5-knuckle shuffle, goes for another FU. It's countered. And Cody starts throwing punches because Cena ends up crotching Cody on the turnbuckles and hits him with an FU from the top rope. And of course, Cody kicks out of that. And then Cena goes for his top rope leg drop, and Cody turns it into a power bomb. He hits another Cody cutter. And he starts to go for the crossroads, but then Cena reverses it into another FU, then transitions it into a STFU. Cody immediately just starts scrambling to the ropes. Doesn't sell the FU at all. And Cody ends up shoving Cena into the ref. Like, they do the drag into the middle a couple times, that deal. And then, yeah, Cody ends up shoving Cena into the referee in the corner. So the ref's out. Cena goes for another FU. Cody escapes it, hits a crossroads, but the ref's out. And Cody looks after the ref. He's like, hey, get up, guy. I need to win my match. Cena exposes the turnbuckle. Cody gets shoved into the exposed turnbuckle face first twice. Cena hits another FU as the ref comes to, and Cody fucking kicks out of that. Then Travis Scott comes out for some reason. Cena's laughing like, oh boy, you done fucked up, Cody. Travis Scott's here. Apparently nobody told Travis Scott that a match is currently underway because he took a sweet ass time getting in the ring. And after an extraordinarily long time, Cena pulls Travis Scott to the apron, raises his arm for some reason. And then during a title match, he drags Cody over to Travis Scott so he can slap him for some reason. Ref did nothing. Like, think about the last WrestleMania we saw with Edge and Randy Orton. Orton's got a concerto Edge and the ref's pleading at Orton to stop. Don't do this. This referee did nothing. So Cody escapes. Travis Scott goes back to the floor. Cena gets hit with another crossroads. And Travis Scott pulls the ref out of the ring, and that just destroys the ref. He's out. Cody then wants a piece of Travis Scott. Travis Scott gets in the ring. And the size difference between Travis Scott and Cody is just as noticeable as when Cody stands next to The Rock and Cena. Why the fuck does Cena need or want this motherfucker's help?
Because he's a heel. I don't know.
Travis Scott tries to slap Cody. He does like an overhand slap with his lanky ass arm. Cody catches it, hits the crossroads. He rolls the lifeless Travis Scott out of the ring. And then Cena tries to attack Cody with the title belt from behind. Cody blocks it. And he wrestles the belt away from Cena. Cena immediately starts to beg. And Cody just can't use the belt on Cena. And he turns to throw the belt aside, and Cena shows Cody the error of his ways with a swift kick to the balls. Cena picks up the title belt, nails Cody in the head with it, revives the ref. 1, 2, 3. So like 4 FUs, getting slammed head first in the exposed turnbuckle. Cody's okay with that, or he can kick out of that. But one little shot to the head with the title belt.
Was that weird? Of course. Like, I didn't expect it to end there, especially since Cody had kicked out of so many FUs and the Avalanche FU. And when he got hit with the belt, the ref was still out. The ref had to be revived. So there was seconds in between the hit and the pin. And he couldn't kick out of that. So I did think that was a little bit off.
You know what else was off?
Go ahead.
I'm just saying. I don't understand why you would shoehorn yourself into a fucking storyline. This is worse than last year. It's bad enough last year watching him with his little fake title that he gave himself. He took out all the legends except for Undertaker.
See, that's the hypocrisy that's going on. We're going to set the record straight.
Fine. You set the record straight. And I'll tell you why you're wrong. So I don't know what Ric Flair did when he won number 16, but I know for a fucking fact he didn't celebrate with fucking Travis Scott. But that's what Cena did, for some reason.
because he was there. Travis Scott is the third guy in this whole thing. People were underestimating that, by the way. Remember? It was him and
Don't. Don't.
when Cena turned heel, it was him there too.
Rock might as well have just had his wife out there.
He's training to be a wrestler, you know.
That's the worst part.
Yeah. He's training to get in.
So this is maybe after WrestleMania, but Cena, he's in the ring. He tells the crowd he doesn't need them as he's posing with the belt. And then Cena puts the title on in reverse so he can watch the title leave with him. So that was a nice little touch.
So outside of the obvious part of the match, did you find the match itself? Because I saw people were shitting on the match too. Like, take out the ending, the actual match part of it.
Up until Travis Scott came out, and I mean, I didn't have a problem with it. No, it was slow, but WWE main event matches are slow. They like to milk shit. Like Roman matches are fucking slow as shit.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the match part of it. First of all, it was a throwback. I mean, we were seeing double axe handles, for Christ's sakes. You know, those people who are upset because they're not seeing their Canadian destroyers.
I guess I don't understand why, because Cena was an ass kicker up until his heel turn. So I just don't understand why that would change.
It's because he's old now.
Well, I can understand he would be a little slower, but he would still be Cena.
Well, that was the other part of it. Like, you know, his mission statement is that he's going to ruin wrestling. The match was worked into like that kind of a story. Because this match is so boring. Well, it's because he's ruining wrestling. Or maybe that's just me getting spoon fed and believing it or whatever.
I don't know. Cena's clearly the bigger of the two between Cody. So I don't understand why Cena wouldn't just be the bully.
I think it was for the most part.
Yeah, I guess so. I just felt like Cena had to run away, and I see Cena being more like the schoolyard bully that would just beat the shit out of you. And then if you get an advantage or something, that's when he throws mud in your eyes and kicks you in the balls.
Yeah.
But no, he was running away from Cody, which, again, I think it didn't make sense to me. But it's been like great. Aside from, the obvious.
And then the other thing I saw people complaining about was the entrance. Because he didn't do a special entrance.
He did do a special entrance.
Well, maybe it was just at this point. At this point, it's just like, what else can I be mad at? Like, I'm mad at everything else. Throw that in there too. Because there was no. It's just the dark with the white fonts.
Well, you already said he's not going to do anything special. He's not changing anything.
Yeah, like I said, maybe it's just part of the fit people were throwing. It's like, throw that in there too. He didn't even do anything for his entrance.
Right. No, I didn't have a problem with that. Well, I had a problem with all the entrances because none of them were special. But yeah, like I said, Cena's was the only one that really stuck out to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Cena's entrance, if I'm being honest. I like the subtle change. Even though he ripped Batista. Better give him some royalties.
I liked when Batista did it too. Just like the spotlight.
That was night 2. Obviously, it was the best of the two, I would say. Although the night 1 had the better main event.
Yeah, night 1 was saved by the main event. Night 2
was saved by the undercard.
Yeah.
And I'd have to give Priest and McIntyre a special nod for. That's the one that sticks out to me the most. Even though they didn't go out to the streets.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a match of the night. I'd probably give it to Fatu.